now that a life of menial drudgery in a filthy, stinking shithole was all I should expect. I believe my mother empathized with this, but she never would have said so. And yet I wasn't one of those young men who believe they're destined for greatness. At the time, I had no interest in destiny. I knew I wasn't on earth to please anyone, let alone God. I was just restless. National pride, military service, ribald songs, the sound of grown men laughing, air exchanged between several people in a tight space. They are all among the variety of things I found repellent. I suppose I still do. But they are also cherished staples of Swedish society. In the rather trite throes of alienation and disaffection, I turned instead, as so many youth before me have, to books. My particular escape was polar exploration, and the myriad ways in which a person could suffer while testing his will against the merciless white death. At the turn of the century, everyone in Sweden was still talking about Fritjof Nansen and Salomon André, the former with his successful maritime innovations and spectacular survival tale, the latter with his ridiculous notions and whimpering disappearance into the Arctic void. Then Roald Amundsen had his two major triumphs. I was in my 20s at the time and remember my keen interest blossoming into a minor obsession. How I longed to strike out for the uncharted territories. I had no wish to win one for Sweden or any such nonsense. On the contrary, I felt myself a prisoner and Sweden a cell. I read all that I could find on the subject, terminally dull Void's narratives, except for Nansen's, of course, he could write, and colorful, mostly fictitious histories, like Southey's Life of Nelson. I had always been an omnivorous reader, disappearing into books for as long as my father would allow, but now I consumed them with a singular sweaty focus, like an addict reunited with his vice after too long a separation. On rare days off, I lingered around the Polar Institute. I watched the men coming and going, dapper in their city suits, and tried to visualize them starving in animal skins. Some carried leather satchels, which I imagined were full of arcane charts. Were they explorers? Unlikely. But they were closer to the real thing than I was. They had their hands on a door. Lurking by the front entrance and doing my best to seem disinterested, I tried to catch glimpses of their eyes, wondering if they all contained the same feral agitation that I assumed others found in mine. But I saw nothing of note. Most looked merely impatient or preoccupied. Perhaps that's how a caged animal appears. I asked my younger sister about this. Olga and I were close. My older sister Freya was a beast who detested me, still resenting, I guess, my original infringement upon her world. Olga, on the other hand, had always been my confidant. She was shy and a bit fragile, but there existed no barrier between her and the truth. I admired this quality about her. She could not dissemble at any cost. My mother worried that this would stand in the way of marriage prospects. Olga, I said, when I was perhaps 19 years old and she 17. Look into my eyes. Yes, she said. What do you see? She considered the question. I see nothing. Do you not see the slavering desperation of a trussed creature? No, she replied. Look again. I know there is unmistakable tempest. Sven, there is not. You're widening your eyes and lifting your brows like a maniac. Please stop. 2. After a few more years of numbing work in a series of mills, my animal caginess had, I thought, been squelched for good and all. Dull, menial tasks have always generated in me an almost somnolent torpor. My eyelids begin